Ethereum could be in for a massive shock down to $900, and I've got to break this down for you right now. The whole crypto market has seen a quite nasty rejection off the resistance areas that we were outlining on the YouTube channel, and unfortunately, just looking at Bitcoin very quickly, because this is essential for Ethereum, you know, we have a little bit of support right where we are at the moment. I think that we've kind of used up most of it. I've actually got it drawn on this chart where you can see that this green box was previously resistance for Bitcoin. It's now potentially support, but it's not really working very well. And so naturally what this means is that we had a phenomenal area of support right here in the market for Bitcoin, very similar level for Ethereum, which was right around the well, really it was up here at the $3,000 range. We've also lost that, so it begs the question, really, where is this chart going to go? And long term, it's very clear, not even long term, but just for this trend at the moment, it's very clear that we could be looking at some quite nasty targets for Ethereum. But before we get there, I want to give you guys the shorter analysis. I also have to preface this whole video by saying that I don't think this is the end of the markets. I don't think this is doom and gloom. Even if we have the heavenly opportunity to see a $900 Ethereum again, I'm only going to be buying that shit until it goes back up to all-time highs again, which I fully expect to happen. So just wanted to clear that and get that out of the way. Fear and greed really dropping us down yesterday, back to extreme fear. Guys, I was warning you about this. I was saying we gained way too much optimism in the market, and so naturally we just got smacked right back down. We're back into fear and extreme fear territory, showing us that once again the Four Flies all-seeing eye was seeing this coming, because sentiment just got way too excited way too quickly, and that's actually why I was warning about how, you know, even though we're seeing this beautiful trend up for the market with Bitcoin right now, it doesn't really mean much because we've seen such an aggressive downtrend. So here's the thing, right? If we first, I want to break down this chart for you right here, because this is the chart I was using to tell you about, you know, like a $10,000 Ethereum token, and why I still think we're going to get it. But the flip side to it is it can also be a very bearish chart, so I need to break this down for you. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the shorter term analysis that I have for you on this chart right here, because you know, we did have this $3,000 area on the chart. I'm not sure if I have anything drawn here. We'll just use this chart. You know, we did have the $3,000 area right here, which kind of, you know, I was expecting to act as a little bit of support as soon as Ethereum was able to rise above it. You know, we're now, because we've plunged below this level, I don't actually see any real areas of support until perhaps, like, man, and at a push right around over here. This is kind of where Ethereum bottomed out before, and I'm going to talk about this price level a little bit later on. For those of you watching on mobile, that's 2200, 2300 up to 2400, and the first box was about 2900 up to about 3100. The final area of support that I see for Ethereum before something very catastrophic could be looking to happen is down here, and this was actually my original bearish target for Ethereum. Those of you who are subscribed to this YouTube channel and been watching our amazingly accurate analysis videos throughout this market will know this very well. Now, I was looking at a $1,700 Ethereum. We didn't get it, obviously. We came within about $500 of that target, but you know, here's the thing, is that we have this support area down here right now. The equivalent support area for Bitcoin is probably going to be this box at about $35,000. However, if we're not actually able to make good use of this support area right now for Ethereum, well, this is the thing, is you can see pretty clearly that every time the market goes from this box to this box, it generally does it very quickly. And the same on the downside. There is a fake out right here, but the very next time the price drops down, it goes from this box all the way down to the next box very quickly. This is on the daily time frame, and on this occasion, yes, there is a fake out, but the next time it basically goes down in one day, and the very next day it's already back up. This is very important, because generally what we're seeing with this range is that when we penetrate this box to the downside, we fall all the way to the next one, but when we manage to use this box as support, we rise all the way up to the next box. This gives us a very predictable range. You know, as a trader, I love seeing this stuff because I'm not trying to make my life difficult. You know, a lot of people join Four Flies VIP. You already know the deal. If you're inside of VIP, you're seeing me trading in this market in real time. I have a very different trading style to most people. It's super simple. It's very simple. That's what people, I think, get tripped up over. You know, I'm not looking to trade every opportunity there is in the market. I'm just looking to trade the easy ones. And what that means is that I'm going to lose a lot less money than the average trader. And ideally, I'd be making a lot more as well, and far more stable psychologically easier ways to swallow and sit through than, sitting at your computer all day like a total fucking degenerate. That is not my style. Because here's the thing, if we measure this range from the top of this box down to up to the bottom of this box, just conservatively, this is a 26% range. From the very bottom to the very top, this is a 40% range. It's a bloody massive range of price action. And all I'm saying here, ladies and gents, is that I cannot, within good faith, I cannot reasonably expect Ethereum, if it fails support over here, to find support anywhere lower, anywhere higher than about 1800. I just can't. I can't see it happening. So if we lose this area, I would anticipate that we're going to be falling down to this area. The problem here, the problem with this, and by the way, this would be totally fine. Like, Ethereum dropping down to here would be Bitcoin dropping down to like 31k in my opinion. Like that 30k, 29k, that's the kind of corresponding level on Bitcoin. So I wouldn't even be worried if Bitcoin falls down to $29,000. It's still, it's still going to be holding key support as long as it doesn't drop below 29. But I'll talk about all of that later on. This is just my Ethereum video, ladies and gents. If you want my Bitcoin analysis, stick around on this YouTube channel for it later tonight. I'll make my Bitcoin video later tonight. You can watch that when I make it. So just make sure you are subscribed and you're inside of our free Telegram channel by clicking on the link in the description down below. And of course, if you want to be in VIP watching me trading in real time, then you can also follow these additional red boxes on screen right here. Just click on this red box, then this one, and then this one, my name, and then send message and ask me how to join, and we'll get you in very, very shortly. This range could turn out to be very, very nice for Ethereum indeed. I suppose my primary concern with this range actually comes in on this chart though, because see, if we take a look at this longer term Ethereum chart right here, we have a situation where we were forming, and I'm just going to delete this line so it's not confusing you guys. We were forming quite a large rising wedge pattern where initially the market is moving up very quickly and then it slows down by quite a bit. And you can actually see this a little bit clearer if I zoom out onto the 1 week time frame, or even 1 month, and it's going to be super obvious, right? Where previously the market was rocketing up with a very, very steep gradient of attack, and then it's continued rising up but slowly. And that is where things get very, very interesting, because generally patterns like this, which show us very quick aggressive price action followed by much slower but still bullish price action, this is generally a display of momentum being lost, where before we were attacking the market with a very steep gradient, we were rising very quickly. Now not so much, potentially indicating that that trend is going to continue, and actually we're going to reverse momentum totally and then fall to the floor. This is how these type of patterns generally work out in financial markets, but for crypto it's not quite the same thing. For crypto, these markets are generally bullish, and so this is the thing, is that support for Ethereum is actually at the very same box that I outlined for you on this chart. If we go back to this chart, I drew this box for you guys between 2300 and 2400, and if I draw that very same chart right here, that very same box right here, you're going to see the same thing, right? This support area does work on this chart at a push. I mean, we would drop slightly below it, but depending on how you've drawn this line, you can probably wiggle it about a little bit. It'd still mean more or less the same thing. So if Ethereum does very quickly just flash down into this area and get a bounce back up, this trend would still be intact. The problem though is that if we end up coming back down to the support between 1800 and 1700, the real area of support that I was talking about for Ethereum. And why is it the real area? Because this is where the big reversals happen, right? When Ethereum was rallying up, setting a brand new all-time high at $2,000, look at where it found resistance twice before rocketing up. This was a strong area of resistance because it was able to stop this uptrend in its tracks, and it was an even stronger area of support. Look at the huge bounces we had off this level. Let's just measure some of them real quick. This one up by 60%. This one up to this high at $4,000, 133%, or up to the real all-time high, 183%, from this very same support level. This is the problem, ladies and gents, is that if Ethereum comes down to this support area, it's going to be amazing that we're finding support there, but we will have conclusively, very, very obviously broken out of this rising wedge as well, which would mean that we're probably going to be using it in a more bearish way. And the problem here is that if you measure the size of this rising wedge, it's actually very, very large. The way you do this to get a target is you look at the top, the first point where you've had, sorry, I got a bit of a runny nose. The first point where you've had contact on the support and the resistance, which is here, because we previously had contact with support on these occasions right here, but we hadn't had contact at the resistance up until right here. So this is what we use to extrapolate a target. All I'm going to do is measure the percent that the market drops from here down to its support at the very same point in time. That's a 63-64% drop. And if we end up kind of falling out of the wedge, let's just say a little bit further in the future, and we drop down by about 64%, that gives us a target of about, yeah, $850 or whatever, more or less $900, potentially showing us that that's where Ethereum could be heading if we break down from these wedges. That's how these wedges work. Now, the problem with these wedges, and it's the same thing with Bitcoin, and I've already covered this with you on this YouTube channel, is that these give really bearish price targets, right? You know, there was the head and shoulders pattern that I know a lot of people were looking at on this market, in this market, right? And if we take a look at this head and shoulders pattern, it's ridiculous how bearish this pattern is. I mean, take a look. I don't even think it's realistic, honestly. I don't. But if we... I forgot how you draw this one. Hang on, I've not drawn this correctly. 1 second. Let me try drawing this again from here. If we look at this head and shoulders pattern, we had something similar. I still cannot draw it for some reason. I think what I'm trying to do is up here. And so what I've got to do is move this up and move this up. And now we have the head and shoulders pattern. This is more or less what people were looking at. It's not actually a very good, it's not actually drawn very well, but you'll get the overall point, because as soon as I drop this horizontal line shows us the neckline of the head and shoulders pattern, and generally these patterns are validated when we come back up and back test them as resistance, which is what we've done. The problem with this range is that if we measure this one, right, this is a hell of a drop. I mean, this is a 30% drop. If we measure it with the dollar drop, you can do both the dollar drop or the percentage drop. With percentage drop, dropping down 34% only puts us at about $29,000, which is absolutely phenomenal. This would be very, very nice if we're able to drop down to that level and then bounce up. But if we're dropping down by the dollar amount, which is about $24,000, well then, you know, it could be a lot uglier, right? If we take a look at this, dropping down by $24,000, this is going to be putting us very close to that $20,000 key price area on the chart. So, you know, these are unrealistically bearish, in my opinion, right? Like, I don't actually think we're going to be fulfilling them. But to be quite honest with you guys right now, you know, I'm wrong about the market sometimes, right? Like, I didn't think we would drop from 69 all the way down to 33 in the way that we did. I just didn't expect that to happen. And so seeing the way that this has moved, you know, what I want to do is, you know, assign probabilities to things that I think will happen. And I definitely don't think it's a high probability that Ethereum's going down to $900. But what I also want to do is be prepared for these outcomes just in case, because markets will do crazy, stupid, unrealistic things. That's what they do. That's what Bitcoin does. That's why we're all scratching our heads not understanding what's going on right now. That's what happens in these markets. And so as a trader, you know, like I'm not trying to hold all of the answers to the universe as an analyst. I'm just trying to balance probabilities, and where I think that it's overwhelmingly likely that something is going to happen and that's going to be easy to make money, I'll just quietly push my money in that direction and try and make money off it. Obviously not always, it's not, I'm rambling here, I'm stumbling, stirring, no, what's the word? What is that word when you lose your speech? Slurring, that's the word. You know, what I'm trying to do here is quietly push my money into the direction where I think the market can move, and it's not always going to work out, right? Like, but that's the point of being a trader and an analyst, is that you're just trying to balance probabilities, and then you're taking calculated risks. And if you can do it well, it's going to work out very, very well for you. And if you can't do it well, you lose all your money. That's just the nature of these markets, ladies and gents. I mean, sorry to break it to you if you haven't figured it out by now. My God, if you haven't figured it out by now, what's it going to take? We've already dropped by like 30%. But anyway, that's my key thing. Is that's what I'm seeing with Ethereum right here. Is you know, it's got some support right now. It definitely could use it. I certainly hope that it does use it. But bottom line, you know, it's in a place where if it doesn't use that support, it's got a hell of a drop coming for it. You know, where it's going to struggle to find support, in my opinion. I mean, you know, if we put, and even the $900 area is just not very strong, in my opinion. Like, it's not been an area that's super useful for Ethereum in its history. Like, the best we've got at $900, just kind of in that range, just, you know, some of this consolidation from way back in 2018. So it's not really good enough, in my opinion, but it's just because it's managed to rise up so quickly. The good thing with Ethereum is I wouldn't expect it to fall through the floor as aggressively as I expect other coins. Like, you know, I was telling you about Solana, for example. Solana is a beautiful example of this, how I was saying that I'm expecting absolute carnage for Solana if it drops below $130, which was that green box. It's so far away right now. Honestly, it's a little bit hard to believe. Like, look at how much it's dropped after it fell below that green box. This is what I was telling you guys. I said it to you before we even dropped this level. Those of you who are subscribed will remember this, is that I was expecting a massive crash for Solana if we lost this support area. And take a look at this. I mean, from the very low of that support area down to the low that we hit, that's minus 37%, or from the high down to the low that we hit, that's minus 39, and we're very, we're right back down to these lows right now. If Solana manages to sweep this prior low, which it absolutely probably would do in my opinion, just given how I mean, there was a small amount of support, but I'm not expecting the support to hold twice, right? I mean, I would barely expect one bounce, let alone two bounces. I just don't see that happening. It's going to have to fall down to its next areas of support, and we're looking at like $45. I mean, very, very low. Just this prior range of consolidation is the only other support that I see for this market. And so this is where the altcoins are not like Ethereum. You see, these coins have ran up way too quickly. I honestly don't give a fuck how good you think Solana is as a project, right? Like, I'm sure these are good projects, but it doesn't matter if, like, the tech is there. Sure, that's one thing, but people are not buying these coins for the tech. Please understand that, ladies and gents. People are not buying these. You are not buying these coins for tech, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching this channel. Like, people are watching this, like, people are doing this to make money. And so as soon as their reason to make money is removed, the coin is not going up anymore, so that, like, you're not going to be making money with it if it's dropping. People don't want it anymore, and they drop it really quickly. That's why we see big crashes. The good thing with coins like Ethereum and coins like Bitcoin is that they're not they don't have that much of a lack of respect, right? People do still give a fuck, and that's why we don't see them dropping by that much. They still drop by a lot because, broadly speaking, people are still only buying these coins for speculative returns, but they also understand them. They've also stood the test of time. They also have a good track record, and that's why people are still willing to hold these coins when things get bad. And that's why I'm not expecting such catastrophic crashes for this market. If they come, good. I'm a trader. You best believe I'm going to be trading it and aiming to rip these markets and make beautiful, beautiful profits, as I always aim to do in these markets, and have been doing now for, nearly like 5 years now. I've been in this market for 5 years. Nearly. It'll be 5 years, I think, in a month or two. So that's very, very exciting. But there you go, ladies and gents. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you want to trade on the platform that I'm trading on, you already know it's Bybit. Link in the description down below. You're going to get some free cash when you sign up using my link. And if you want to jump inside of VIP, this is the place where I tell you absolutely everything about all the trades that I'm making. I actually was very recently in a Bitcoin trade, which I closed at a 4% loss. It was a long. I'm very glad I closed that long at only a 4% loss. It could have been a much bigger loss. And that is totally fine, right? It is totally fine to be eating small losses like that, as long as you're able to compensate for them with bigger gains. And obviously, I'm going to keep on playing this market, looking for the best opportunities that I can find to trade this market safely and aggressively. So if you want to jump inside of VIP, gain a behind the scenes insight into how all of that looks and see everything else we have, because that's only one benefit of being a VIP member. There's so much more. There's way better things. Just reach out by following these steps. Click on the first link in the description down below, then click on my name at the bottom of at the bottom of any post in /gold, and then click on send message. This is going to take you into a direct chat with me. You can ask me any questions you have. You can even set up a phone call with a member of my team if you're not sure if you'd be a good fit for VIP, but we'll get you in and we'll see. We'll send you all that information. Hope you have enjoyed this one. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.